and welcome to Navigate Autism with Jane Lynn. This is our segment that I'm doing with Jeff at home with Jane Lynn and Jeff. But today we are cooking healthy, and you are actually going to watch us as we film my show. We're doing this segment for my TV show, Navigate Autism with Jane Lynn, and we thought you might enjoy getting to see what's involved with all the lights and the camera. Maybe, Laura, you can say hi to Eddie. Thanks, Eddie. Hey, Chuck, for, for helping us out here. There's so many different things and different diets, and we also completely understand the overwhelm, how hard it is to make a big shift in your life and with your children. So we wanted today to show you some simple and really delicious recipes to help you if you're interested in changing your diet. And I'm just going to share one additional thing because this is what sparked my interest in doing this show. We've been healthy for a long time, eating healthy, right?
Right.
But this summer, see, he doesn't even know I'm going to say this and he's laughing. This summer, my daughter and I decided, let's try a vegan diet for 4 days, because we can do anything for 4 days. Now, I never, ever thought I would do a vegan diet, because I love meat, I love cheese and yogurt, all that. But we said, let's just do it. And at the end of 4 days, which was really, really hard, we said, okay, we're going to keep doing this. And I was so ready to say no. But then I realized, wait a minute. I had developed hypertension after breaking my finger 6 months ago. It was gone. The hypertension was gone. My digestion was better. I had more energy, right?
Right.
There were so many great things that were happening. I said, of course I'm going to continue. And then I said, Jeff, why don't we try this for William? And the whole family.
Right.
Because I felt so great. We should try it now. I don't know if you remember this, but I think you threw something across the room. You weren't really happy because this is a major
shift.
It's a major shift, right? How do we go from what William loves, what Ashley and you and I love, to eating vegan, which we know nothing about? So I said, don't worry. I'll research it, I'll cook it, which he laughs because he does most of the cooking. But we did it, and it made me think, let's just share with you how you can do this. It's not that hard, and we're going to share 3 really simple recipes that you're going to love, and if you're interested in trying to change your diet, hopefully you'll learn something from us today. So we're going to teach you how we make tofu parmesan, and by the way, tofu I used to hate, but it's right. It's all in how you cook it. We're also going to show you how to make a pizza, which is really easy and delicious, and also something that's another easy, fun breakfast item, which is a smashed avocado toast. But before we do that, I want to ask Jeff I know a lot about you, obviously, and your background, but I would love for you to share what makes you so good at cooking.
Well, as you know, my background is in the wine industry, and the wine industry is all about tastes and flavors. And part of my job, I've spent time in New York City, in Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., was calling on some of the great restaurants in those cities, talking to some of those great chefs and matching the flavors of my wine with the flavors of their food. And one of the things I always did, because I've always considered cooking a hobby, and I love to eat, and eating in those high-class restaurants would have bankrupted us. I mean, they're great to go out for a special occasion. So I started to ask questions about how chefs put together various dishes and learn various little things from them. And so having my background in wine and dealing with flavors and matching foods to wine, I was quickly able to take recipes and modify them so that we could put healthy ingredients in them, cook them gluten and casein free, no wheat, no milk products. And then the ultimate, which you described a few months ago, which was a huge shift because I love using, cheeses and meats and things like that, was going to veganism. And so, it wasn't as difficult as I thought. Yeah, I miss a few of my dishes, and yeah, there are dishes I can't modify. How do you modify a steak? You can't. And that's one of my favorite meals. So, through that process of trial and error and using my background in wine, I've been able to figure out a lot of recipes. And then through a lot of reading on the internet, finding great sites that I like. I have tons of books that I like to comb through and find recipes and kind of make my own, so to speak. And the recipe today we're doing, hemp tofu parmesan, is really an adaptation of a recipe I found that we really kind of healthicized, I would like to say, and really made it more suitable for a vegan diet in terms of adding a lot of protein to it and a lot of B vitamins, which are difficult to find in vegan diets. And so we really added a few flares to these recipes that made them much healthier.
Right. So I'm just going to show everyone. So what we do is we go on the internet and we just print out recipes that we love, and then Jeff writes all over it usually, and like he said, makes it really healthy. And because he's got that photographic memory, he'll remember all the medicinal qualities or the health benefits of all these different spices and ingredients, and he puts it in.
Right.
So why don't you show us how you make the tofu parm?
Okay, well, the first thing you want to do is you want to take a package of tofu and drain out the liquid. And by that I mean just pour out the water that comes in the package of tofu. This is a 14-ounce package of tofu, and you can see it's nice and white. What I've done is I've sliced it into 8 even slices, about 1/4 of an inch thick. So we can make a layer of tofu. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to take the tofu and we're going to dredge it in just a flour mix, not a flour mixture, excuse me. It's a cornstarch, a tablespoon of cornstarch, a teaspoon of garlic powder to add some flavoring to it. We love garlic in this household, and garlic has a lot of wonderful antiviral and antibacterial properties to it. I add a pinch of salt and a little pinch of freshly ground pepper to add some more flavor. Then what we'll do is we'll put it in the frying pan, and you see I've already melted some. I love coconut oil for cooking, and for several reasons. When you cook, and especially when you're cooking with high heat, you want to use either something like a coconut oil or an avocado oil. You don't want to use olive oil. And the reason being is when you heat olive oil, it introduces free radicals into the oil, and it kind of turns rancid. And free radicals and rancidity is really bad for your health. Olive oil is great to use for salads and things like that when you're not going to heat it. But when you're heating olive oil, and we're going to cook this at a medium heat for about 5 minutes per side after we dredge it. So we really want to use a coconut oil or an avocado oil. So today we used coconut oil. But you could also use avocado oil. And the thing I love about coconut oil, it itself has a lot of antiviral and antibacterial properties to it that help heal the gut. It has a lot of healthy things in it like omega-3s and 6s, so it's really great. And the same thing with the avocado oil. The avocado oil imparts a little different flavor. The coconut oil is a little more neutral in flavor.
They're both great.
They're both great.
We've used them both.
We've used them both. So we'll dredge this in the cornstarch and garlic powder mix. We'll cook it 5 minutes per side, flip it. And then what I'll do is I'll pull it out of the pan and I'll put it in a glass bowl. Now, the recipe here that we were using just called for breadcrumbs. First of all, I like to make my own breadcrumbs because A, it's much more cost effective. I just take a piece of, we use what's called a sprouted grain bread, which does have gluten in it. But unlike most breads, when you sprout it, it makes the gluten much more easier to digest. So if you're looking to get rid of the gluten and you're not a celiac, suffering from celiac disease, you can certainly use a sprouted grain bread. And what I like about sprouted grain bread, it has more protein, it has a lot of B vitamins and a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, and sprouting it makes it much more accessible, and it makes the gluten digest like a vegetable.
I just have to say this is true because I started eating a lot of this when I started just eating vegan, and I was losing weight. But I was eating at least 2 or 3 pieces of bread a day, and I thought bread losing weight didn't make sense, but it's because it digests like a vegetable.
Exactly.
Like you said.
So what we do is I just take a piece of bread like this, I kind of rip it apart. I have a spice and nut grinder, I throw it in there and kind of crumb it up. And again, you get this nice thing. So I've used 1 slice of bread in here. And then what I do is I added 3 tablespoons of hemp seed hearts.
Yes.
Hemp seed hearts. And the great thing about hemp seed hearts, they're called the perfect protein because they contain all 20 amino acids. And then they also contain a lot of zinc, some iron, some manganese. And these are all great essential vitamins. They have anti-inflammatory properties. They're rich in omega-3s and 6s, which are great for brain development. There's been a lot of research, not in autism, but ADHD. And I think a lot of that research, if they ever did it, would probably cross over to autism. The great thing about it is I mix 3 tablespoons with 1 slice of bread. 3 tablespoons of this contains 10 grams of protein.
Wow, so that's really what you need.
Yeah, that's really what we need. So it really adds some fortification and protein. So I add hemp seed hearts, and then I add a teaspoon of basil and oregano, again, for flavor. So we'll sprinkle this on top of the tofu. Then we'll take about half a jar of just a tomato sauce. I happen to like this garden vegetable sauce. It's one of my favorites right now. We get a little benefit from the flavor of the vegetables with the tomatoes. So it's going to give it a little more depth to our flavor. We'll spread that on top. And then what I call the coup de grace is nutritional yeast flakes.
Oh, yes.
Nutritional yeast flakes are really great because they have some protein. They have some B vitamins. Again, that's a real concern if you're a vegan.
Yes.
Because a lot of the vegetables you're eating and a lot of the foods you're eating are very low in B vitamins. So you really want to look for ways to add it. So I will take about a tablespoon of this. I generally just use my hand because I know about what a tablespoon is, and I kind of sprinkle it on the top of the thing. And also, if you have someone you're trying to fool, like a young child, it can look a little bit like cheese.
Child with autism.
Yes.
If you can fool them.
Yeah, but it adds a wonderful nutty flavor, and it adds those B vitamins, and has been proven to be an anti-inflammatory. It adds a lot of qualities in terms of some vitamins and minerals to it. So it's a great little addition. We cook this in the oven at about 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and then we're going to show you the finished product, which is really yummy.
So you put it in a pan or a glass container, something like this. And I just pulled it out to show you. It looks a little bit nicer on a plate. And it's nice and thick. It tastes good. And we put a salad next to it, and there you have a really great meal.
Yep. So.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Jeff. Now I'm going to show you how to do a pizza. And I like to do this because, as you know, I talk a lot about interactive games and how to inspire our kids to participate with us. This is an easy one to do that. I like to start with a pre-made crust. You don't have to, but this is my favorite. There are many, but I just get this one box. It's got 2 pizza crusts in it, and it's not pre-cooked, but see, it comes like this. You get 2 in a nice plastic container. I put a little bit of oil on the tray here, and then put the crust. I pre-cut a lot of veggies and just put them in these little bags because it's easy. Now you can cut these with your child. I'm not really wanting to use a sharp knife right now with William. His focus isn't quite there yet. So I would prepare this, and then I would just take it out. I have the zucchini.
Actually, one of the things you want to do with these vegetables, because when you cook a pizza, it's not really going to cook the vegetables. So again, you want to take some coconut oil or avocado oil, put them in the pan at about a medium heat, about 10 minutes, saute them in that pan. So you put all your vegetables, you take your zucchini, your onions, your peppers, and throw them in the pan. And if you want, add a little garlic towards the end. You don't want to cook garlic too long because you really want to maintain that flavor and that pungency of the garlic, which is so wonderful to me.
Exactly. So thank you. You're jumping a little ahead of me, but that's great. I like to, so I'll ask William, open these bags and put them in a bowl like this. And these are some peppers. Actually, I just want to show you these really cool little peppers. And I pre-cut, and then I'll have him toss it after he washes his hands. And then, like Jeff said, go to the stove and put it into a pan with some oil and just cook them for a few minutes so they get nice and soft. So that, and while that's cooking, what we'll do is we'll get some pizza sauce. Again, really easy, and take a spoon and put it on the pizza. These are all things that he loves to do, and it's very easy to do. But what is my special treat for him is he loves to paint. So I get something like this in the kitchen that he can then spread the sauce. I don't know if you can see this very well, but we spread the sauce with something that looks like a paintbrush. Again, this would motivate him to participate and help me cook. Then, once the vegetables are a little bit softer, and we're going to pretend that they aren't, that they're coming out of the pan, we'll just sprinkle them on top. And I used onions and zucchini and peppers. You can use mushrooms. And you can also use the hemp seeds that Jeff was talking about. And then of course, we actually like Daya vegan cheese. There's, again, several different kinds that you like. You can just sprinkle it on top and then put it in the oven at about 350 for 15 minutes, if that. And Jeff, would you mind getting the 2 pieces we already have?
Sure.
So we're going to show you what it looks like.
So this is on the left, this is a cheese pizza that we've added some hemp seed and actually some nutritional yeast to. Again, we want to get those B vitamins. It really doesn't impact the taste except in a really yummy way. And here is what I call our garbage veggie pizza, which is mushrooms, zucchini, peppers, and onions. So, and again, we've added hemp seed and nutritional yeast just so we can get that additional nutrition in there for William and the family, so we get that balanced diet of a lot of protein and B vitamins. Make sure we get a good amount of those in our diet.
Yes, well, if you don't mind holding that for me.
Oh.
There's 2 things that I do at the end for my pizza, and actually everything I've learned, and you probably know this, but the value of cilantro. And sometimes I cook it, but sometimes I just like it to be fresh because it maintains a lot of the health qualities.
Mm-hmm.
But cilantro, and this is Atlantic dulce, which is actually seaweed. And it's been dried in a way that's not hot, it's not heated at all, so that you are able to maintain the enzymes and the qualities. And I usually use about a teaspoon. And the reason I use this is, these 2, the cilantro and the dulce, they actually help detoxify from heavy metals. And dulce, what I've been reading a lot about is it attaches itself to mercury and does not let it go until it leaves the body. So we give this to William every night, no matter what we cook. We make sure that he gets this in his diet because we know that mercury is something that actually we all struggle with. I learned a few weeks ago that we pass on mercury from generation to generation. So every single one of us has it in our bodies, and this is one way we can detoxify.
And really, this stuff is really great. If you've ever had sushi where they wrap the sushi with the seaweed, it's a similar texture and taste profile. It's a little different in taste than the seaweed you get for sushi, but not much. And it's really a pleasant, neutral taste that, especially, you want to buy the flakes. Let me tell you, you don't want to buy the long strands because it is tough to make it into flakes again. But if you can't find it, you can only rip it up. Your handy dandy spice grinder is awesome for that.
I was just going to put this down for you so you can talk. But absolutely, and one final thing is, because we found this out, if you make this wet, so if you put this in oil and garlic or something and let it sit, you don't have to cook it, it actually reduces the saltiness and it tastes better.
Right. So what I like to do with this is I'll take some avocado or coconut oil, add a little garlic, and I saute just the olive oil and the garlic. And then I turn it off, wait a few minutes, and I put the dulce in, and I stir it up. So we don't heat the dulce much. We just barely warm it, but it'll take on the flavors of that garlic, and it really gives it a nice, smooth, really interesting texture to it. And a lot of eating is texture. So you want to make sure you've got great textures.
That is true. All right, so we have time for one more thing, and this is actually what I had for breakfast this morning. It's so delicious. I just took a piece of toast, and this is using the sprouted grain bread that we told you about earlier, and you take about a tablespoon of hummus. Hummus is made from chickpeas and some oil and some spices. It's very healthy protein. And then you take half an avocado, which again gives you all of your good fats that we need during the day. And you just spread it on like this, and it's very tasty. Now some people might actually put some chopped tomatoes on there, but I just had this and it was really delicious, and it filled me up. I didn't need to eat a snack middle of the morning like I sometimes do. All of these recipes, as you can see, at least I hope you can see, they're very easy to do, and we're actually creating something like a cookbook that is going to be available on my website in just a few days, which is navigateautism.com. The recipes are not all of our recipes or things that we found from the internet, but we're putting them in a document that's easy. We really want you to see that if you want to make a lifestyle change, you can. And we're going to give you this document that has both the meal plan, so for 1 week, suggestions of what you could eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then links to a lot of the recipes that are there. And so hopefully that you'll find that helpful. And then finally, just wanted to let you know that I do consulting, and if anyone is interested in trying a new diet or making these changes, again, you can go to my website, navigateautism.com, and find out more about how to sign up for something like that, so we could actually kind of hold your hand through that process and help you make that change that you're looking for. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun, and it's kind of hard to not notice. We had a friend flying around us the whole show. As we were setting up, we had him come in, so we just thought he'd be part of our show today, and hopefully that wasn't distracting. But thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Next time, you're going to get to have another visit with my friend Heidi Rome. She is the mother that you saw on my last episode with the Bucks County medium, Dorothy Welsh. She, in her own words, told us that her son was violent towards himself and others, and she and her husband had to make the most difficult decision ever, which was to send her son to a boarding school in another state. And she's going to tell us more about that journey, how she made that tough decision, and how she's using that now to help other moms find their strength and clarity. But what's really kind of special is she's also going to read to you a message that her son gave her right before he left, which was basically a message saying she's doing the right thing, and he's ready for this journey. So I look forward to seeing you next time on Navigate Autism with Jane Lynn. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Eddie, thank you so much for everything, and thank you Facebook Live folks for joining in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to post them below. We weren't able to take them while we were doing this live today, but I'm glad you were able to join us. And I look forward to seeing you next week on At Home with Jane Lynn and Jeff.
Awesome.
Thank you.